did that Bloody Mary game when I was a kid. I was too scared. I was super gullible and I didn't learn. This followed me into adulthood, always a fraidy cat, never the daredevil. I live in a basement apartment. I own the property. Well, technically I'm still buying it from the bank, but having 2 rental units makes my mortgage payments and then some. The upstairs is nice, like middle class nice, with everything redone. It's new carpet, tile floor, and nice countertops. The top floor is huge, and when I bought the place, I originally saw myself there. The basement is finished. It has its own entry, separate from the other 2, which enter through a small shared lobby. As much as I tolerate my tenants, an older gentleman who has several lady friends and feeds the stray cats, and a group of 3 moderately responsible college kids whose parents pay their rent on the uppermost floor, it's nice to have my own way in and out, even if it is right beside their doorway. The basement is small, having 1 large room and a bathroom. I can see my bed from the couch. I can see my kitchen from everywhere. The stairs are old, wooden, and part of the original house. The rest was finished sometime during this decade, despite the 1970s feel of the shag carpet. I keep the windows unblocked and try to let in as much light as I can, but most of the time I feel like I live in a dungeon. Well, the legs started showing up around the time I lost my job. I didn't really lose it. I just stopped going. They fired me and I got unemployment. My laziness started before this, and things snowballed from there. I had enough in an account to cover most of the emergency repairs, and the difference in monthly bills and the mortgage was enough to live off of, if I lived cheaply. I thought about using this time to find what I really wanted to do in life. Instead, I used the free time to revert to a nocturnal schedule, eat junk food, and procrastinate employment. I've never been so long without a job. I mean, not since before I was 15. And beginning to consider full-time landlording it. I've become a bit of a slob lately, and I thought if I managed several properties, I could pay them all off, be rich, and live the high life. Or it could, I could work out something like that. So during the early morning hours, well after midnight, I fell asleep on the sofa watching a movie. I woke up a little after to change positions or move to bed. The remote fell on the floor when I turned over. I flipped back over to fetch it, and that's when I saw them. 2 legs, nicely shaved in low pumps, and probably wearing pantyhose, stood on my 4th step down from the entryway. I froze. It looked like a woman was just standing there. I said, "Hello?" But she didn't move or speak. I sat up fully, and again, she didn't move. It freaked me out. Was it an intruder? Could it be one of my college-age tenants? I was too scared to move, so I sat there, concerned. I remembered my door. It was heavy. It didn't open without a loud, high-pitched creak that would wake anyone up. It also had about 4 locks on it, a deadbolt, chain, a knob, and a swinging bar lock. No way. I stared at the legs, but they didn't move. Transfixed as I was, a loud commercial came on the TV and stole my attention for just a moment. When I looked back up, the legs were gone. That almost freaked me out more. I stayed quite still and waited for a long time. The sun rose only an hour or so later, and the earliest beams of sunlight drifted in my very high up windows. Eventually, I got up, tidied up, looked over my shoulder at the staircase as often as I could, but eventually went to bed. I chalked up the incidents to kind of like a sleep paralysis incident where I could move my body but was still hallucinating. Fine, right? Nope. A few nights later, I sat on the sofa this time, perusing the internet, looking for my next investment property. I was a little stressed from family problems. I was half-heartedly looking at houses out of state when I saw a flash from the corner of my eye. I looked up at my stairwell. Again, someone was standing on my 4th step. I couldn't see any faces or bodies other than legs of this individual. So when you first enter my unit, there's a partial wall that blocks the staircase. It's part of the house that dips down into the basement. It's like a large rectangular cube that just juts downward. When I or anyone else walk into my living area, one can only see a limited view of the floor until clearing the first half of the stairs and passing that dip down part. I don't know exactly what it is. I just always assumed it was because the stairs to the 3rd floor are directly above these stairs. Or I guess it would be second floor. Well, anyway, it feels like the third floor since it's 2 floors above me. So unlike the first person, the first set of legs that these belong to clearly a man. They were big, thick calves covered in curly black hair. He wore some kind of black work boots, or maybe they were like motorcycle boots. I said nothing. I thought, okay, I'm losing my mind. It's time to get a job. I waited for the legs to go away. They stayed a long time. It felt like a lot longer than the first set. I looked away more than once, and each time jumped a bit when they were still there. They never moved. No weight was shifted, no toes tapped. Nothing. I felt threatened. Like someone was threatening me in my own home. Like I felt this kind of weird darkness all around me, like at the corner of my eyes. Eventually, these two left. No pun intended. I looked away again, and finally, when I looked back up from the screen of my laptop, they had vanished. All this time, I thought I'd be okay, one way or another. I would figure this out, right? I don't have gas, but I thought maybe since I was living kind of underground, I had a methane leak. I ordered a carbon monoxide detector. Most ghosts are just carbon monoxide poisoning, right? That's what I thought. Everything went on normally. So more visits came, and I amped up my plans. My plans to what? I'm not sure I had a good plan. At first I thought I was just stressed because I felt like I needed a job and my family was awful. And so I got a part-time job doing transcription on site. Did you know that was still done by humans in some places? I didn't. The pay was good and the hours stopped at 25 per week. I thought, yeah, I'm getting out of the house. The legs are gonna stop now. No more visitors, no more weird hallucinations that might be a tap to my subconscious telling me some sort of weird thing about my inner self that I really didn't want to know. But yeah, that didn't work at all. The carbon monoxide detector gave the all clear. I stayed hydrated. I moved the TV. I poured rings of salt, and I consulted my cousin, who is a self-proclaimed white Wiccan. She couldn't make it over, but she did tell me to burn some sage. I ordered that too, but it hasn't come in yet. I also checked for any trapdoors or anything weird with the door, or that piece that kind of sticks out. I found nothing. In the weeks that followed, I got someone wearing green bell-bottoms with alligator boots. Another who wore sandals and had dirt-covered toes. Entity that donned jeans with fringe cuffs and what could only be described as the cartoonish webbed feet of a duck costume with bright yellow spandex over thin stalks. I never went near my visitors when they arrived. They showed up only after midnight, and I'm not sure if they were ever there when I was already asleep, and that freaked me out the most. I didn't want to go out or to my new job. Then when I was at work, I didn't want to go home. Nothing could explain what was happening, except for maybe the fact that I'm losing my mind. If I haven't already, I'm definitely on my way there, that is. Last night, I saw dress pants, black, and matching shiny loafers. I saw them and I tried not to be afraid. Except this time, I peered at what could only be described as the slight crinkle of knees. As whoever it was, it stood on the 5th step. They, or whatever this is getting bolder. And what happens when they come all the way down? Hello friends, I'm Sunny Lancaster. I'm a writer and a narrator. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you want to hear more scary stories, please subscribe.